guys, hope you're all good and well, having a good one. And welcome to my YouTube. Today is going to be a full training day, what my training sort of split looks like and all the components of my training sessions. So today is Tuesday. It is I think it's the 24th of November and it's just gone 10:30. So this morning I had a session, I had an assault bike session, which I did. I kind of chop and change between echo bike and assault bike just for ease. So went on the assault bike this morning, managed to get that in nice and early. So that was from 6 till 7. It was quite a tasty session. But at the moment, what I'm trying to achieve is trying to get a better 10-minute max calorie assault bike or echo bike. So I've been doing a progression for a little bit of a while now. So it's been about 6 weeks. So today was a bit more intensity than what I've been used to for the last, say, 5 or 6 weeks. It's been quite like a slow builder, a bit more volume based over the last 5 weeks. But today was a bit more short and sharp and punchy. It was 10 sets, 50 calorie assault bike with 90-second rest, and the RPM, was meant to be 97% of your 10-minute max test RPM. So my RPM for my 10-minute test that I did at the start of this block was 70. So going into today, it was 68. So it was meant to stick at 68 as I went through the 10 sets, which did get very leggy. It was actually quite manageable for the first 4 sets. And then fatigue started to set in and kind of my recovery rate between my sets started to get a little bit slower, but managed it. So I was happy with that. It was a good test and a good one to definitely wake up for. But going into next week should be a big push on from that. We'll see if we can hold 100%, so that'll be 70 RPM throughout those 10 sets. So good little progression as we go into next week. But what I've been doing this morning is just a little bit of work. So I've been programming. I'm going away quite soon, so I'm trying to get ahead of programming and just make sure everything's set and ready for while I'm away. So quite programming heavy this morning. Did a little bit of check-ins, some little admin bits, but nothing too major. And then now, it being about 10:30, it's time to get my second session in. So I'm going to head to the gym, march on just up the road, and I'm going to go into some deadlifts. I've also got some pull-ups and some pulling gymnastics capacity work. So that's generally kind of my setup for a Tuesday. I try and implement those things, try and get a bit of pull in there. Going into tomorrow, so a little bit of almost like a low day, not too intense. So it's quite nice to try and push today, especially with that assault bike session this morning. Try and get some heavy deads in, some heavy pull-ups, some strength work, and then going into gymnastic capacity as I go into that final piece. What I'm doing for my gymnastics kind of overload in my progression so far is implementing chest to bar muscle ups and rope climbs. What I'm trying to implement at the moment for my gymnastics pulling progression is my pulling's quite good, to be honest, for me. It's quite a good aspect of my gymnastics, but at the same time, I find that I get quite fatigued quite fast almost if I have something that's gassy in between it or something that's interfering. So what I'm implementing today is going to be 50 double unders in between each set, and I'm going to go every 2-ish minutes. So I'm going to go 50 dubs, then into gymnastics, obviously a little break in the remaining time before the next minute. And I'll show you through that session as I do it, as it's quite a lot going on. It should be a big test. It's always quite gassy each week. And then that'll be me done for training-wise today, and I'll crack on with some more work and try and get some bit of a flow state as we go into the afternoon. But I hope you enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions on my training or training in general. It's time to head off and time to get going. So come along, Wimpy. All right, so it is now 2:07. Just had my lunch. Well, I had a shower before that, had my lunch, and then put some on the washing away. I had a call as well, and now I'm going to sit down and do some work for the next 2 and a bit hours. So in my session, I had to start with, I had some deads. It was 5 sets of 3 reps, 3 seconds on the way up, and then 3 seconds on the way down with a 1 second pause at the top and the bottom. So very controlled reps. Built up from 170, I think it was 170 or 175 up to 195. So I was happy with that. It's pretty tough trying to move that weight that slow when it's pretty heavy. And then I went into some pull-ups, managed 4 sets, 2 sets of 4, 2 sets of 2, pretty heavy as well. So it's a little bit ropey on the last rep. I'm not sure it'll be counted. Either way, it was heavy, and I have to just make sure I get that range in the next session. And then I went into a bit of a gymnastics capacity piece. So with this, it was an 8-minute every 2 minute on the minute. So I had 4 rounds every 2 minutes. I started with 50 double unders for every single 8 minute, every 2 minutes on the minute. I then went into a gymnastics movement. So the first full 8 minutes was 25 chest to bar, which was tasty to say the least. It was a good amount of volume, so 100 chest to bar across the 8 minutes. I then had 2 minutes rest. I then went into some bar muscle ups. So it was meant to be 10 reps, but I found I was still feeling that fatigue from the chest to bar, so I dropped it to 8 just to try and stay consistent, which I managed. But again, it was still quite tough, and I was starting to fatigue quite a lot towards the end. I then had 2 minutes rest, so I went into the last 8-minute block, which was 50 double unders, 2 legless rope climb. And I started to break down here, to be honest. I think I was jacked up, the volume was quite intense. Off the back of last week, having Waterpalooza qualifiers, I actually missed last week's progression, so I was 2 weeks going into this one, and it was just a little bit too much volume to keep the intensity. I did manage all the volume, but I had to have about 1 minute to 2 minutes, probably more likely 2 minutes rest after the second set. So a little bit more of like a spread on the 4 rounds for that last one, but still got the volume in, so it was good. Just learning curves from this session. So feeling good on my deads, feeling good on my pull-ups. It was just, that capacity piece, I have to tweak it a little bit going into next week, just to make sure I can move straight from the double unders into that gymnastics movement, which is what I'm trying to achieve in that gymnastics piece, is trying to see how I do under fatigue going into that and trying to get that fatigue. So I'm not trying to rest before I go into it, which is something I struggle with within workouts from time to time. But I'm really enjoying my training. It's really fulfilling. It's going in the right direction as well. I'm feeling pretty fit at the minute, so that's cool. And this is week 6 of this block, so I'll do another potentially 2 weeks of this block, or maybe we'll see how we go, have to self-assess. But coming into December time, into January time, obviously we've got the Open coming up, and then you've got the quarterfinals. I'm trying to look to peak towards the quarterfinals. Intensity and more Metcon-y pieces will start to come into play as we go into more of the new year. But for now, just laying the foundations, trying to build as big a base as possible to then peak towards quarterfinals, to try and make semis as much as try and push towards semis as much as I can, but in a good place at the minute. But I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get on with my work, try and see how much I can get done before the day ends. And I will leave this video here. So if you liked the video, please like it, please share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time for much, much more to come.